Hello friends, my name is Oshin and you're watching Inside IIM. With me today I have three individuals who've aced the CAT, but the trick is that they have been weak at certain sections, they're all different sections, and they aced the CAT despite that. So our goal today is to tell you what's a 6-month strategy you can follow to make sure that you score a 99 plus on CAT 2021. And let me introduce to you Shantanu. He's back with us again. He's an IIMC graduate now. He took the CAT 18 and scored a 99.88 percentile on it. We have Phalak Tiwari, who's a CAT 2020 test taker, and she scored a 99.36 percentile. She'll be joining IIM Bangalore this year. And finally, we have Sujala Bansal, who scored a 99.73 percentile on CAT 2020, and she'll be joining IIM Ahmedabad this year. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. It's a privilege to have you. Without further ado, let me ask you, Falak, to start with and the question for you is because you aced verbal, even though you were not very good at it when you started. So, what's a 6-month strategy that students and aspirants can follow to make sure that they don't let verbal hinder their chances of scoring high on CAT 2021?
Sure, thank you, Oshin. And yes, so basically, when I started my CAT preparation last year, my performance in verbal ability section was pretty bad till the month of June and July, and my accuracy was as low as 50%. But it improved over the time, and it improved to more than 90%. So what I did was, generally people have problem in the reading comprehension section. So while I would suggest you to take up 5 to 6 RCs every day, and you don't have to be an avid reader. You don't have to read novels every day because you don't have basically time for it now. So I would suggest you to take up 5 to 6 RCs. You can have you can take RCs from websites. There are various websites like Bodhi Prep, and there are reference materials books available for like Arun Sharma books, and plus if you can have study material from any coaching, that would be great. And try to solve 5 to 6 RCs. Basically give 1 hour to your RC preparation, and that would do the trick. Basically you people have problems when the options are too close to each other. So for that also I would suggest you to first try to understand the passage. Try to make up your mind. Try to make a mind map while you are reading. Don't just read the paragraph, try to understand it as well, and then pick up the options instead of doing the reverse calculation, because many a times people start comparing the options itself and then they go back to the story, and that becomes the problem. So first try to mark the option which you think is correct, and try to compare the options which you think summarize your opinion in a better way. So now you might get wrong. So but in this way, if you do, at least your ability to understand the text improves. So this is the trick that I used for RCs. Then verbal ability section. So in verbal ability sections, people generally ignore that section. So I would say that please don't ignore the grammar. Please don't ignore the basic grammar rules that we were taught till class 9th or 10th. And to just revise those things, you can take the help of books like Wren and Martin. And you can take the help of book. There was a book called Intermediate English Grammar by Raymond Murphy. So you take the help of these two books. They are pretty easy, and you don't have to solve them completely. Give 1 hour to grammar, and basically try to focus on the topics like correct usage. There is a part called correct usage of grammars. So it will talk about correct usage of verbs, nouns, pronouns, subject verb agreement, all these problems. All these topics. And once you're thorough with it, it will help you not only in your verbal ability section but also in your para jumbles, sentence correction, even in your RCs. So try to give 1 hour daily to grammar as well. And remaining 1 hour or half an hour you can give for the other verbal ability exercises like para jumbles and summaries, all these things. So in all, I would suggest that giving 2.5 to 3 hours every day for VARC would be more than enough, because you have 6 months time, and I think 6 months is more than enough for anybody to score a 99 plus in CAT, considering he or she starts from scratch in the VARC section itself. That is all.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the answer, Falak. And we'll come back to VRC by picking up more questions. But you're
Sure.
very crisp, and I appreciate that answer. Next, I'd like to go to Shantanu. Shantanu, you were not so good at quant when you started out, and that was the case with LRDI too. But we'll come to LRDI later. Let's focus on quant just now. What is it, in your view, that aspirants can do in the next 6 months to ace quant, regardless of how bad they may be at it at this point?
Right. So I think with Quant, the strategy should be for those 6 months to segregate your preparation into three parts. So you can have an initial part, a mid part of the preparation, and an end part of the preparation where you're sort of in the end game. And in all of these three parts, you focus on different things when it comes to each particular topic. So let's say in the start of your preparation, you focus mostly on concept building. So about 70% of your time, you go in, maybe you attend a lecture of a particular coaching class, but mostly just go in, look at the details of what is it, look at the basic concepts of that particular topic, maybe practice few questions which are given to you in class, or maybe just the foundation level questions. And that will sort of you can start building your basics of it. At the same time, you should look at timed practice also. So about the rest of the 30% at the start of your preparation should go into taking 1 hour and solving questions in that 1 hour. So you should look at increasing your speed probably. Maybe you do 20 questions at the start, you increase it to 22, 23. So it's sort of like a daily fight in the timed practice aspect of it. But about 70 to 30 ratio over there at the start of the preparation. At this point, don't go to mixed bag. Focus on one particular topic, and there are about 13 to 14 topics when it comes to quant. So it starts from permutation and combination, probability, time and work, ratio, proportion, speed, time, distance. So all of these topics are different in themselves. Some of them can be as varied as maybe mensuration versus geometry. So you can't really take those topics and study them together, but take one topic, build a strong concept, focus 70% of your time on just learning to solve those questions, and 30% of time on time practice. Then as you go to the middle part of your preparation, what you do is you lift your foot off the pedal when it comes to concept building, and you focus on just the timed aspect of it. So what you do is you take maybe 34 questions of time distance, speed, time, distance, and you try to solve them in 1 hour, and you try to increase your speed in terms of speed, time, distance only. What that would do is that would make you quicker in questions regarding speed, time, distance. And you do this with each topic. Again, in the middle part of your preparation, about 30 to 35% of your focus should now go to mixed bag questions. Because what it happens in the paper is that you don't know which question is going to come next. You're just thrown a particular question, and the next question can be from a completely different topic. And this is where quant as a section is very different from LRDI or verbal. Because in LRDI, there are sets. In LRDI, there are sets. Again, in verbal, there are passages. So your mind is trained to a particular kind of question. In quant, you just have to switch very quickly. So the mixed bag preparation of it is really important. And about 30 to 35% of your prep in the middle part, probably this should be around month 3 or 4, should go to the mixed bag kind of preparation. Lastly, when you're in the last 1 or 2 months of your preparation, time practice should probably take out 25 to 30% of your time. Make sure that you are touching upon separate topics that you find are weak for yourself. So let's say that you have permutation and combination, which is not going that well. So give a certain amount of time to just focusing on permutation and combination, but do it in a timed manner. Don't do it by just taking a book and then solving random questions. Make sure that you have that 1 hour clock in front of you when you start taking questions. And by the end of your preparation, about 60 to 70% of your time should go into mixed bag, because that's how the final paper is going to be. So this is how I suggest that you divide your preparation as it comes along those 6 months. One thing to learn is that when it comes to different topics, you might be on different steps. So maybe you are good at a topic. So you go through the concept building phase very quickly, and you get to the time practice mode really fast. However, on a different topic, you need to go back and learn your concepts again and again. So you can be on different steps for different topics. However, know where you are. So each topic, know which are your strong topics, know which are your weaker topics, And that is how, when you get to the test taking strategy, you can change your strategy depending on that. So that is how I think you should handle it over a period of 6 months.
Right. And would you like to put some months time on it? For instance, if I start today, until when should I be done with phase 1, which is building my basic concepts? When should ideally phase 2 start?
Right. So I think on a 6 months time span, probably the first month, 1.5 is when you should actually just focus on concept building. You shouldn't go to the time practice aspect of it. But then you should, depending on the level on which you are for a particular topic, you should move to the next phase. So probably the first month and a half should focus on concept building. Uh, about 2 to 2.5 months on time practice, and the rest on the end phase of the preparation.
All right. Awesome. Thanks so much for the answer, Shantanu. And finally, we come to LRDI with Sujala. What is a 6 month strategy for LRDI? A lot of people have no clue about LRDI, regardless of whether they're engineers or not. It's a new section for almost everybody. So what is it that you would recommend we do to build the skill to score, let's say, 99 plus on that section?
Right. So I myself was not very confident about DILR. So VARC was my weakest section and DILR somewhere in the middle, and Quant was my most favorite section. So talking about the 6 month study plan, I think giving 1 hour on every weekday and 5 to 6 hours over the weekend should be sufficient for CAT. And you can divide this time accordingly for all 3 sections. You can divide equally. And in case you feel that you are better in one section, you can give more time to a weaker section. Now, let's say you have first make a list of all the topics that are there in DILR. As an example, let's say we have some 32 topics. So aim to finish these 32 topics in 4 months, as until September end. For that means for every month you'll have some 8 topics, and for every week there will be 2 topics. And I don't think that it should be difficult to do that. Now, when you're doing those topics, take one topic and read the basics. I mean, I'm sharing the strategy I followed. So read the basics and understand the concepts, and then memorize any formulae if there, because directly memorizing will lead to nothing, and you'll not be clear with the concepts. Once you're done with that, you start with some basic sets, do some intermediate ones, and then advanced. And after that, one thing I regularly followed was doing sectional mocks. So 1 or 2 sectional mocks for that particular topic. That really helps, because that can you can understand where you stand presently and whether you need more practice in that particular topic or not. Secondly, one should give one full-length mock every week, and analyzing that mock is also very important. The reason you should give the mock is that it helps you build your speed, your stamina, your mental focus, and it helps to normalize the pressure you're going to face on the day. When you're analyzing mocks for DILR, make sure you are doing all the sets which you were not able to do in the mock. And make sure you are doing every set in a timed manner. When we talked about doing basic sets, intermediate sets, all of them should be done in a timed manner, because speed is a very, very critical factor for acing the examination. And the reason why I had suggested that a person should finish DILR preparation in the first 4 months is that because October and November should be spent in giving maximum number of mocks and revising the concepts. Also, the fact that it is very important to pick the correct set in DILR. So for that, you must have the liberty to do so. Let's say you are only done with a few topics, and in an examination where you have 6 sets in DILR, you'll not be able to choose amongst all the sets, because you anyway don't know those topics. So to have that kind of liberty, you must do all the topics, and then you can choose. And one more thing I wanted to share was that scanning of set is very important. So when you're picking a set, because I had 40 minutes this time in CAT 2020, so I could only give at max 4 minutes for scanning all the sets that were there and picking up the easier ones. So accordingly, if CAT 2021 also is for 2 hours, one can devote 3 to 4 minutes for this purpose. And make sure that all the aspirants, they need to make sure that they leave their ego aside and do not aim for doing all the questions of a particular set, because some of those questions might be difficult. And trust me, you'll end up saving more time if you start another set and doing some easier questions. So that's about it. And one more thing which I learned from my faculty was that you must, when you do some calculations on the rough pad that is given to you, you must do them legibly, because that calculation you might have to refer again when you do some other question. So that really helps. And speed maths is something that you can start practicing now from the first day, because speed maths will definitely help in both DILR and Quants. So I think this is something people should follow as a 6-month plan.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Sujala, for that. And at this point, I want to let you know, everybody, that I'll take up all of your live questions. Once we're done with Shantanu, because he's also someone who struggled with LRDI particularly, and I think it'll be interesting to hear what he'd recommend you do for the next 6 months to make sure you do really well on LRDI. And Shantanu, before you start, could you tell us a little about where you were when you started with LRDI and what was your final performance?
Right. So LRDI was one subject that I found, one topic which I found like completely out of my comfort zone, because it was not something that I had done earlier. I gave CAT a total of 3 times, out of which I had 2 serious attempts. One of the times I scored below 80%. I scored around 13 marks or something. The second time I scored in single digit. It was not even a serious attempt. So that was even worse. The third time when I actually prepared specifically for LRDI and gave the exam, I ended up scoring a 99.4 in the section, and it was more than the aggregate score of my both previous attempts. So that sort of really helped me get into the 99 plus bracket now that I look at it in hindsight. Now, in terms of LRDI, it is really Sujala has really pinpointed what you should do, because you should leave your ego aside when it comes to LRD. At the end of the day, these are sets which are something that you would not have seen earlier, and you need to be okay with leaving particular sets or leaving particular questions, and we are sort of not okay with that usually. So what I did was I focused on a few concept building practices, but then I just went into the mixed bag and tried to take things as they came, because I figured that questions that I would be seeing on the final day would be completely different. So I just took up mixed bag sectional tests, as Sujala suggested. I took up sectional tests, went in, tried to, maybe do just one question more than I did the previous time. And when you keep a goal like that, that maybe you'll be just attempting one more question, that keeps your priorities straight, because you don't then focus on one particular set or one particular question. You know that the goal of this particular 1 hour is just to do one more question or maybe 2 more questions. Overall, what that does is it pushes your attempts up. And that is something which is very integral in LRDI, because if you are attempting, you will mostly get the question done. The thing with LRDI is that your accuracy rates are much higher than other sections. So as you push your attempts higher, you're also putting your number of marks higher. It's not a typical game of accuracy versus speed over here, as you see on the other sections. Over here, it's just about speed. It's just about getting to, cracking that particular set or cracking that particular question. So focusing on the number of attempts, making sure that you are able to attempt more questions, reach more sets, reach the proper sets, because again, set selection becomes very important over here. You can maybe, the day when you start, you'll probably just sit and look at a set, and after 15 minutes, you'll be nowhere. But you need to take that to a point where you are, over a period of 1 hour, you're choosing 4 good sets, 5 good sets, and making sure that you are at least doing 16 to 18 questions out of that, because that would easily put you in the 99% plus bracket. So that's how I approached it. Concept building, obviously, it's there. It's something that you need to do, but somehow I feel that the concept building for LRDI would be lesser than the concept building for Quant, because the topics are not as many, and oftentimes the questions are a mix of the topics. So you wouldn't really have one particular topic easily translating from your basics to your final exam. So you would have to be on the spot when it comes to the logic that you are applying.
So much, Phalak, Sujala, and Shantanu. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I'd be happy to host you again if time permits and if you're available. But for today, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.